Good morning, I'm Monica Granison, and I'll be your facilitator today for this onboarding module. Before we begin, would you mind briefly introducing yourselves and sharing your role at PrePass? Thank you, nice to meet you, and welcome all. Let's begin with the business problem. Every time a commercial vehicle stops at a way station, there are costs associated with lost time, fuel consumption, and reduced productivity. This module introduces PrePass bypass, a solution to keep qualified fleets moving without stopping at way stations. Before we look at how bypass works, let's talk about why it matters. Every successful bypass can help fleets save valuable resources. As you can see, a single bypass can save up to 7 minutes, approximately half a gallon of fuel, and around $10 in operating costs. While those numbers may seem small individually, they add up quickly across an entire fleet over time. The result is improved efficiency, lower operational costs, and increased productivity. Now that we understand the business value, let's take a look at the PrePass solutions available to customers. PrePass offers several fleet solutions, such as bypass, toll management, plus, and compliance. These solutions support commercial carriers as well as fleet and owner-operators. And as mentioned before, we will be discussing bypass only for this module. Let's take turns learning more about bypass. Here it is important to simulate active learning by having the learners take turns reading each input in the slide. This improves attention and engagement. I will read this for presenting this project, however. Bypass electronically screens qualified commercial vehicles before reaching a way station. Drivers receive a bypass signal through the PrePass mobile app or a PrePass transponder. Qualified vehicles continue their route without stopping. Now that we've discussed what bypass is and how it works, let's see it in action. As you watch the video, pay attention to the additional features mentioned beyond bypassing and take notes of as many as you can. Let me know when you're ready. Okay, let's play it.
In addition to bypassing, the PrePass app offers safety alerts for steep grades, high winds, construction zones, traffic congestion, and more. When paired with a PrePass transponder, you expand bypass opportunities to more locations, while adding even more value through integrated toll payment services. No other provider offers the choices and flexibility of PrePass.
Do you need to watch a second time? Okay, so now let's check.
In addition to bypassing,
Take a look at the list and tell me which features were mentioned. So let's look at the first one. Fuel discounts at participating truck stops was not mentioned. However, more bypass locations available with a PrePass transponder was mentioned. Safety alerts for construction zones was mentioned. Electronic login device (ELD) management was not mentioned. Safety alerts for traffic congestion was mentioned. Truck maintenance scheduling was not mentioned. Safety alerts for high winds was mentioned. Safety alerts for police activity was not mentioned. and safety alerts for steep grades were mentioned. So to recap, we have more bypass locations available if you have a PrePass transponder, safety alerts for construction zones, traffic congestion, high winds, and steep grades. Are there any questions here? All right, let's continue. Now that we have explored what bypass is and some of its additional features, let's look at the eligibility requirements. We have 4 requirements that are core. Learners here would take turns reading again to stimulate active learning. Favorable ISS score and clean inspection history, active DOT number and operating authority, required registration and compliance standards, and approved transponder or the PrePass mobile app. Together, these requirements help ensure that only qualified vehicles are eligible to bypass way stations. Now let's take a look at some situations that may prevent a vehicle from bypassing. Bypass eligibility can be affected by state regulations and vehicle characteristics. Here again, learners would take turns reading again to stimulate active learning. Hazardous materials, agricultural cargo or excessive load restrictions, gross vehicle weight, GVW, thresholds enforcement, and number of truck axles or certain length limitations. So vehicles that do not comply with these specific state regulations will be required to pull into way stations. Any questions here? Okay, so now let's apply what we have learned. Students here would take turns reading the profile of the truck and deciding if the vehicle bypasses. So the profile is as follows: active DOT number, clean inspection history, approved transponder, and agricultural cargo with no state restriction. So what do you think, guys? Can this vehicle bypass? Yes, because even if it has agricultural cargo, it is not restricted in that state. Any questions? Okay, let's continue with the next scenario. Another learner would read this profile again. So what do you think, guys? Can this vehicle bypass? No, that's correct, because it has inconsistent inspection history. Any questions here? Okay, let's continue with the last scenario. This truck has an active DOT number, has clean inspection history, has an approved transponder, but it is hauling hazmat. So what do you think, guys? Can this vehicle bypass? No, that's correct, because it is hauling hazmat. Any questions? Okay. To conclude, there are 4 key points from today's onboarding. PrePass bypass saves time, fuel, and money. Eligible vehicles maintain strong safety and compliance records. Cargo type and state restrictions can affect eligibility, and additional alerts help drivers stay informed and safe. Do you have any questions or comments about today's material? Okay, you have successfully completed this training module. This module was assigned as a challenge for an employment selection process with the following constraints. I was to design an onboarding training for all departments in the company about this product. The project was only to have around 10 slides. Therefore, I designed objectives that would lead learners to explain the purpose for PrePass bypass, identify eligibility requirements, recognize common bypass restrictions, and determine whether a vehicle qualifies for bypass. I used instructional design strategies that included progressive disclosure present in paragraph reveals on the bypass explanation slide. I also included multimedia learning by embedding a PrePass video. I included a knowledge check right after the video for checking additional features. I also included scenario-based learning for checking vehicle eligibility profiles. And I also added an active learning simulation, which is a click to reveal interaction and having learners read input out loud. This concludes my presentation.